Hey everyone, Asam Builds here, and in this video, we're going to be looking at what LEGO Star Wars sets I think will come out next year. For anyone that's unaware, next year is the 20th anniversary for Revenge of the Sith, and I'm hoping LEGO will treat us with some cool anniversary sets. So I'm going to list some set possibilities and what sets I'd like to make an appearance. Then, at the end of my video, I'll make my final predictions for what sets we'll see next year. Also, feel free to go ahead and comment on what sets you'd like to see next year for the anniversary. The first thing I want to talk about is some UCS sets. I strongly believe we will see UCS set next year based on Revenge of the Sith, and I have a few ideas for what it could be. The first one, which I also think is probably the most popular idea, is the Obi-Wan and Anakin's Jedi Starfighters. Unlike normal UCS sets, this would kind of be like a 2-in-1 package, because neither of these would be big enough on their own to justify that big of a price tag, but together they'd fit pretty well and hit that price tag easily. Speaking about the price tag normally, this price range of sets is about $240, and I could see that work pretty well. The opening of that movie with those ships flying around is pretty iconic, and so it'd be a really great set to see. The other reason I really love this idea is because the synergy with the UCS Venator. Even though it wouldn't be in scale, it would look perfect sitting right next to it. I think having the Venator out right now definitely increases the odds of this set happening. The other smaller UCS set I could see at a similar price point of $240 is an ARC 170. This is a ship that's been really needing a remake, honestly. We haven't seen in any form, playset, UCS or otherwise, in a very long time, and it's definitely due to be made in a set. And I know plenty of people want this to be a UCS set too. It's a very cool ship we saw in that Battle of Coruscant, and it's a fan favorite that everyone would love to see in the UCS form. I have one more UCS set I want to talk about because I don't think it's very likely, but I figured I'd mention it so I at least have one UCS set on the list that's the bigger price range of like $600. For that, I really think there's only one set you could have, and that's the Invisible Hand. We already have the Venator, so that's out of the question. So the Invisible Hand is really the only other ship I could see at that price range. Now, it would fit very good with the Venator, and they did just make that midi-scale version of it, but I just don't see them making a full, big UCS set version of it. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. It would look amazing next to the Venator, but the other two I mentioned are way more likely. Moving on to the playsets, I have a lot more ideas and remakes that we could see appear next year, and stuff I'd just like to see appear. And that first one is the Wookiee Catamaran. This has been always just one of my favorite sets. It's a really different LEGO Star Wars set, and I think that might be part of the reason. Being that's based on Kashyyyk and the Wookiees kind of ships, it's definitely way different than anything else you ever see in LEGO Star Wars. And that's what makes it so fun. That combined with great figures, swamp speeder to oppose it, it just really has it all. Similarly, the Wookiee attack set is also really good for a kind of similar reason. It has that one Wookiee ship you see in that scene, and it's just a really cool set. Plus, with this one specifically, the Separatist forces would be nice to get considering how few of sets we get of those. Both these sets, though, I think would be really cool to see, or just one of them. We haven't really gotten any of the Wookiee kind of themed sets really ever, I guess you could say, after this. I mean, we've had Wookiees and, Wookiee Warriors and other sets, obviously, but we haven't had anything based off the Battle of Kashyyyk besides, AT-APs or turbo tanks. We haven't had a true Wookiee vehicle since then. The third set I have is a Palpatine's Arrest diorama. I think this is to no one's surprise that this is on the list because it's a really popular idea. They made a playset version of this a while ago, and it was really good. They honestly would only need to take that and just put a black border around it because they did such a good job on that earlier playset, and I would just love to see what they do now in a diorama form. I think it'd definitely fit the diorama style perfectly, and I really kind of expect this one to come out next year. Similarly, I also have the Duel on Mustafar diorama on this list, and of course, it would be of the high ground scene. And of course, this is the scene you think about when you think Revenge of the Sith, the duel on Mustafar, the most iconic part of the movie, and one of the most iconic parts in all of Star Wars. This one really has high odds of coming out next year, and it lends itself really well to a diorama form. The scene I would see this set depicting is the very end of the duel, where it would be kind of the high ground area, as well as a good chunk of lava mixed in there. That way you could have multiple setups you could do, where you could have them fighting on the mining droids still in the lava, or maybe you could still set Obi-Wan up on the kind of mound of ash and have Anakin, out in the lava recreating that scene, or the jump or whatever. I feel like that'd be the best look and give you the most options for display. This is probably my most wanted set on the entire list for me personally. I just love that scene, and man, I'd love to see it in a diorama. The next playset is the ARC 170. Now, I know I had that in the UCS portion too, but I just really think an ARC 170 is coming next year, whether it's UCS or playset. We need a new one desperately, and like I stated earlier, they would totally miss the mark if there's no ARC 170 next year. It's kind of insane we haven't had one already, and that's why I kind of think they're waiting for the anniversary. They know we want this ship, and I really do believe it's coming next year. The sixth set is the Turbo Tank. It's kind of been a while since we've got one, so it wouldn't be bad for them to go ahead and give us another Kashyyyk-themed Turbo Tank. It would be a little boring to get, of course, another Kashyyyk Turbo Tank. If we were to get one, I kind of want it to be off the Bad Batch, honestly. That way it's just something different. Being that next year's the anniversary, though, if we get it next year, it's definitely going to be Kashyyyk-based, which I definitely wouldn't be mad about. They always do good with the turbo tanks, and it does have a decent shot of coming out next year. This next set has a prototype that's 15 years old. I just can't believe it hasn't been made yet. It's the UT-AT. This is the Republic vehicle that had very limited screen time during Order 66, but has always been very desired by the community. Part of that is for the minifigures though, as the Galactic Marines are really cool. But like I mentioned, LEGO actually made a prototype for this set in the past, and it was shown in the visual dictionary. And so who knows, maybe this year could finally be the year it sees the light of day. After that, I have another vehicle that was seen in the Order 66 montage, and that is an AT-OT. I think this could really be a great opportunity for them to bring the AT-OT back. This time, it'd just be the AT-OT, no dropship, of course, and it'd be equipped with a bunch of the 327th. We could finally get Commander Bly and some of his amazing troopers. And with Grogu's escape that just came out, LEGO's finally kind of admitted they're no longer afraid to make Order 66 sets. So maybe we could get a Felucia-inspired Order 66 AT-OT. Next up is the Invisible Hand diorama. Well, I already put a couple great duels on here. I had to put this one too. It can be kind of overlooked because it was at the beginning of the movie, but it was a really great fight, and it deserves a diorama too. It's definitely not as iconic as the other two I mentioned, so the odds of this one are a lot more slim, but I definitely think it's worth mentioning. There are definitely some neat figures here, and it could be a very cool set. Now, I have two final sets I want to share with you guys, and they're just both battle packs, so that's kind of why I saved them to the end here. Because in all honesty, I don't really foresee a battle pack next year for the anniversary. It could happen, but for some reason, I just don't see them making a battle pack, an anniversary set. Anyway, the few possibilities I do want to mention are a Kashyyyk Troopers battle pack, or the 41st Elite Corps as they're also known. We could see that return next year, and I think that'd probably be the most likely battle pack we would see. Other than that, there's always the slim chance we could finally get Galactic Marines, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that one. They, of course, are some of the coolest looking clones, but LEGO just has kind of not wanted to make them yet. Now, a couple other clones you could maybe make an argument for a battle pack next year would be the 212th or the 327th. But if you're wondering why I didn't include either of those as a battle pack, it's because the 212th there's a bunch of them in that AT-AT currently, and I think that's why we're not really going to get them in a battle pack, or why I didn't bother mentioning them. And similarly with the 327th, I mentioned them in the AT-OT, so that's kind of why I didn't make a battle pack of them down here. They're both possible, so I'll still mention them, but that's kind of why I just didn't talk about them too much here. Like I mentioned though, I don't really think a battle pack will probably be an anniversary set. It totally could be, but that's not how it's been in the past, so that's just what I'm kind of basing that assumption off of. Alright, here we are at the end of the video, and here's where I want to actually make my predictions on what sets we will see next year. It was fun to make some set ideas and hope for some cool remakes, But if the Phantom Menace anniversary is any indicator of what's to come, then we'll probably only see a few sets from the movie. The sets I think we'll definitely see next year are, for the UCS, I have the Anakin and Obi-Wan Starfighter. I really think this one's probably a lock. Will pair perfectly with the Venator. Not to mention, it's a brand new UCS set idea that everyone already wants and is very vocal about. It'd be a very safe bet for LEGO to make this, and everyone would be extremely happy. Other than that, I have the two dioramas I mentioned, the Duel on Mustafar and Palpatine's Arrest. With the diorama line being so new, they haven't really gotten a chance to do many prequel sets, and I think this is their chance to hit Revenge of the Sith. These are two very iconic duels and some of the biggest parts of this movie, and I definitely think we'll see these dioramas show up next year. At least one of them for sure. The final set I think we'll see next year is a Playscale ARC 170. It's just an amazing ship that really needs a remake, and I think that's why we haven't seen one for a little while. I think they've wanted to do one, but they've been waiting for this anniversary. And so next year is the time to strike, and we'll finally get to see it. That was the last prediction for the video, so now I just want to thank you all for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and go ahead and comment down below what sets you want to see next year. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.